Hi, my name is Olivia Fisher, and this is my family finance new home slide presentation. So the family that I did my project on is the Johnston family. It is the Johnston family. There is Emily Johnston, Henry Johnston, and their two daughters, Opal and Piper. Henry works as an investment fund manager, and Emory attends Johns Hopkins as a biomedical MD PhD student. The financial situation for the family is overall pretty good. Currently, they are looking at buying a home, and Henry has a good job, and Emory receives a $4,000 monthly stipend from her MD PhD program. Unfortunately, their youngest daughter, Piper, was diagnosed with a rare bone cancer, and that has resulted in a lot of hospital bills and difficulties for the family. According to their 25% rule, they have a $2,850 they can spend $2,854 on a monthly mortgage payment. They have $5,000 in outstanding debt and are looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom townhome in Baltimore, Maryland. The home needs to have at least one parking space and be close to the school, the park, and the lake. They also really need to be close to Johns Hopkins because of Emory's work, and that's where Piper's pediatric oncologist is. This is their dream home. The home is listed at $535,000 with a monthly payment of $2,552.94. It's ideal for the family because it's really near the water with a park and public transportation close by. The house is large with enough bedrooms and bathrooms, and it has 4 parking spaces. It has everything and more that the family could want. This is their modest home that they're interested in. It is listed at $429,000, so a pretty big difference from the dream home, and a monthly payment of $2,047.12. The home is not as close to the water, but is really close to a large park and walking distance from the water. The house has 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 1 parking space, and 0 HOA fees, which is exactly what they need and what they would like in a house. This is the family budget. It's been doctored up a lot since the original and updated with all of the new numbers. So the total income for the family per month is $11,416. They pay their tithing, the taxes withheld. This number came from the taxes document. For long-term savings, they save $52,000 or $5,200. The $1,200 comes from the emergency fund savings, and the $4,000 comes from the down payment savings. For investments, they can afford to pay 10% of their monthly income. The mortgage amount in their budget comes from the ideal amount, which is the monthly payment for the modest home. And for the debt payments, they pay $500 a month. And in addition, the transportation, they've allotted $120 a month as well. So the family savings plan, they selected to save for $17,000, which is about in between a 3-month and a 6-month fund, emergency fund. They want to save this money in a certificate of deposit, so it should take about 14 months. And they couldn't afford the 6-month supply right now because they're also trying to really save a lot for their down payment. They've selected to save a 20% down payment based off of their a modest home, with a monthly savings goal of $4,000, and to put that into a 3% bond mutual fund because it might take a year or two to get all that money saved up. They are going to be putting $8,000 of their current long-term savings towards their down payment, so they're only going to be needing to save $90,000. In comparing mortgage terms, there is the 15-year mortgage or the 30-year mortgage. Both are with a 20% down payment and a 740 plus credit score. The 15-year mortgage has a 2.875%, and it has less than half a point in upfront costs. And the 30-year mortgage has a 3.375% APR and about 0.776 points in upfront costs. We were kind of thinking that it would be best to save in interest and have a lower interest rate and pay the upfront costs and points than it is to have a higher interest rate with no points. That's just kind of what we were thinking. For the taxes, versus with a home versus without a home. Without a home, the home mortgage tax deduction they would take is the standard, so the $24,000 tax deduction. And with a home, they would take the itemized tax deduction of $37,896.23. As you can see in the table under the itemized deduction, if they didn't have a home, they would only get $23,220.14 in tax deduction, so they went with standard. Without a home, there's no property tax. With a home, there's $4,944 in tax per year. Without a home, the tax liability the family has is $12,366.85 per year. But with a home, it's only $9,309.68 a year. So there is a significant difference in having a home for your taxes and how much you're liable to pay when you have a home versus when you don't have a home. So for transportation, the family currently has a 2015 Toyota Prius that is completely paid off. And that's been really nice for the family because when they're in the downtown where they're renting right now, they can rely mainly on public transportation and walking to get around to basically everywhere they need to go. But in their budget, they've allotted money that can pay for city transport passes for the family, as well as gas for the Prius, which thankfully is $20 every 2 weeks. For the upkeep of the Prius, you can see it'll depreciate over $8,000. It costs $2,000 to finance. Insurance itself is $4,000, and to maintain it is $6,000. At the end of the 5-year breakdown table at the bottom, the true cost to own the Prius for a total of 5 years is $29,149. So that is pretty pricey for the family, but in the end it does, only having the one car that's completely paid off and has really good gas mileage is really good for the family and will save them money in the long run, especially if they can just rely mainly on public transport. Okay, so for the debt of the family, long-term debt, they pay $13,699.02 per year in tithing, and that's based off of their monthly income times 12 divided by, or times 10%. They have no credit card debt or car loans or personal loans or secondary mortgages, but they do have $5,000 in student loans that they are paying off with a $500 a month payment. For the PITI amounts for the modest, based off of the modest home with a 20% down payment, when you take into consideration the principal, the interest, the taxes, and the insurance, the principal number comes from the amount of the loan, or so the cost of the house minus the down payment, and then the interest on the 15-year loan, the taxes that Zillow accounts for, and the insurance as well comes out to a PITI amount of $3,038.33. They are paying a 20% down payment, so they will not need private mortgage insurance. So based off of that calculation for the PITI amounts, you can do the calculations to compare it and see what percentage of your income it accounts for. So 36% of the family's monthly income is $4,109.76. But with this home and with this PITI amount, it is actually only 31.99%, so about 32% of the family's income So the family would qualify for the loan for this modest home based off of their monthly income, their debts, and the PITI amounts. So after considering, this is kind of a comparison of whether they should keep buying, whether they should keep renting. So the biggest factor that would affect whether the family would buy a home or rent a home is they already know that they want to buy a home and soon, but they won't do it until they can afford that 20% down payment. They would rather save up and keep renting just for a little bit and be able to save their money to afford the down payment than have to pay for the private mortgage insurance and a bigger loan. So to buy a home, the pros for buying a home would be it would give the family a permanent space to live. They'd have privacy, and it would be nice to have somewhere that they can make their own. And it is also beneficial because it lowers their tax liability. A con for buying a home is that it's a big step financially and responsibly. The house would be expensive in regards of monthly payments and insurances, as well as the inevitable maintenance required, and their lifestyles would have to slow down, and they would have to make some sacrifices to be able to afford this home, and not turn it into a hole in the ground that you throw money into, So the pro for renting the home is that it costs less to maintain and that there's a lower monthly payment. A con is that it's not feasible for living there long term because, it'll get more expensive and you can do it, but they know that they'd rather have a permanent home. Another con would be it's not exactly in the right location and it's not really their own place. So, with wear and tear of a young family, it can get expensive, probably, coloring on the walls and, damages. So, another thing about when would it make sense for them to buy a home, it would make sense when they can afford the down payment and the cost of upkeep and still be able to have a good quality of life. This would most likely be when they have about $100,000 in their savings to afford the down payment, which would probably take them about 2 years to afford. Okay, so the total interest paid when you compare the 15-year and the 30-year loan, based off of the modest home and the loan comparison calculator, the total interest they would pay for a 15-year loan is $91,211.80. The total interest that they would pay for a 30-year loan is $232,312. So when you compare the two, it is really a lot better to go with a 15-year loan because in the long term, it'll save you over $100,000 in interest. Although the monthly payment for the 15-year loan is a lot more expensive, it'll save you, if you can afford it, you can save a lot more by not having to pay all of that interest. So for the investment amounts, if you look and you compare the modest home monthly pay or appreciation versus the dream home appreciation, and then you take that difference and you invest it, and you invest that amount for 30 years, the ideal home, so the modest home, I guess, is the ideal one. It would be worth $2 million. Yeah, $2 million. Is that $2 million? Yeah, I think it's actually just $2 million. So $2 million, $164,400. Wow. Okay, $2,164,443.41. And then the family, as I mentioned earlier, they can afford to invest 10% of their monthly income, which is $114.16. So if the family takes the amount, if the family invests so $505.82, which is the difference in appreciation between the two homes, per month into the stock market for 30 years, it would be worth $1,245,717.66. So in the end, although the dream home will appreciate to be, almost $600,000, more than the modest home, in the end, if you invest it, you'll get over $1 million in investments if you invest that difference, which would be worth a lot more than